Hey guys, welcome to another one of our videos. I'm the Worm, this is the Brom. Today we're going to be reviewing a set of drip tips we were sent.
It's a bit weird for us. We have, well, yeah, this is a bit of a random review for us. We was a bit like, oh, drip tips. There's only so much you can say about drip tips, but we have been playing around with them a little bit, and there are a few
Differences.
I think, yeah, I think it's the best way to word it.
We did get these free of charge from the houseofmods.co.uk. I've previously ripped them up in the
Baron
video, so obviously we know they're good. Yeah, but this isn't going to change our review on the product.
Oh, sloppy and poor. Yeah.
It's not going to review our change.
Not going to review our change of the product.
No.
Right.
There we go.
Basically, we was chatting to Sarah at House of Mods, and she said, oh, I'd love to send you like Killer Tank or whatever else. Unfortunately, got none. She goes, well, I'm going to send you some drip tips, just to have a look at, and talk about with, and we'll stay in contact type things, I think, sweet. So basically, we got these, and we did kind of think like, we can do a review on them, but there's only so much we can say about drip tips. But there are differences between these and the drip tips.
We got a bullet one, a replacement which basically eradicates the need for a drip tip on the Baron and the Spiral.
And this, which is I have no idea, I can't see the name of it. Is it? Move the screen slightly on the back, mate. Sorry guys, we are poor. No, not that one. No, that one. It's the East. It's called the East drip tip. So sorry, it's kind of like a Ming style, knucklehead style drip tip. But they are stainless. Right, they are full stainless steel. They're actually quite nicely weighted. What should we do first? Do the bullet first?
They're also double O-ringed as well.
Double O-ringed. We'll do the bullet first, I think, because Worm was actually thinking of buying this anyway, so it's kind of worked out pretty nicely for him. He's very happy.
Yeah, so that's a bullet. Just going to pop it into those up my. It is very tight.
They are very tight fitting, which is good, I think. A little bit of liquid helps them obviously bed in. And yeah, basically,
that's your bullet.
That is the bullet. It does look pretty cool on the Baron because it kind of looks like a big 50 cal bullet or something. So I guess that's the intention, obviously. Now, a drip tip, as far as drip tips are concerned, they're not really going to want flavour and vapour. Obviously, it's a drip tip. But I'm going to read a couple of things out that are specified on the site because a couple of them I read, kind of had a look, thought about how they use, and kind of thought, yeah, that's actually true. More durable and tight fitting is going to be, it's got double O-rings. Only thing I will point out is they are slightly longer here, so I haven't had it yet and tried it on Novas, DDAs, iGirls, A7s, Baron. We haven't had it yet, but if you have got a very, very shallow gap, it might not pop in there. That's the only sort of thing to point out with that. But it says the metal of the atomizer drip tip is not touching. The metal and the metal of the atomizer and the drip tip are not touching. Therefore, your drip tip will remain cool, which is obviously a better vape for your lips. That's I've cliff noted at the end of that. Now, in most devices, you're going to think, well, the atomizer doesn't come in contact anyway. Which is true, but you've got to remember, guys, as we said in the e-Baron video, it's designed for the e-Barons, like the Pro and the Spiral and stuff like that. Now, with the Pro, you may have seen Worm using it himself, doesn't tend to use a drip tip. Personally, I don't like using it like that, but Worm does. Seems to think it's a better flavour and stuff than you.
It's just a warmer vapour, to be honest, because you're closer to the atomizer, obviously. So
there you go, warmer vapour. So if you are using it like that and you are puffing away, obviously your body's going to get hot eventually, and this obviously would stop the need for that. Personally, I like how that thing looks with drip tip, and I've always said this to them, always have done. And that bullet drip tip looks banging in it. It's quite nicely cut around the edges. It's quite a.
It's very clean. It is very clean.
I want to say sort of sharp. We haven't pointed out the price of this drip tip. The price is $8.95. Now some people are going, what? And to be honest with you, you need to look, if you are honest with people, at the price of stainless steel drip tips, true stainless steel drip tips. If you compare it to some cyan drip tips and stuff, they're about the same kind of price, so expect to pay this for a high quality stainless steel drip tip. This is like one of the first bullet ones we've seen, isn't it? Yeah. It's stainless, so
this is it's very high quality. I mean, I can get this thing out now.
Very tight fitting as well. On the Baron in particular, the Baron has got a slightly snugger fit than some devices, but it is very tightly fitting in the Baron. You can tell by the look on the Worm's face.
There we go. Sorry guys, but focus here. So you're going to lose a bit of focus on us. That should be close enough. I mean, you can see down there that is very thin. Oh, can I get close? Oh, there we go. Very thin indeed. But the finish on it, I mean, it's
slightly thick as it goes down, though. Isn't it?
Very slightly, but yeah, the fin at the top it is. I
want to say it's almost like a sharp finish. It's not like cut sharp, but it is a very clean, sharp finish.
It is very clean, yeah. But yeah, it's very nice. I mean, it's definitely well crafted. Sorry. It's obviously been machined out of a single piece, I'd assume.
I would assume, but no, it's a very nice drip tip. Other thing I wanted to point out as well, and it's the same with this e-strip tip as well. It says it works as an airflow, as it can be put into 2 different positions, allowing the air to flow around the atomizer to suit you. Now, I kind of looked at it and went, what? Basically, if I stick this east in the iGo, alright, you see that there's a slight gap. I can then push a second O-ring in to make it flush. Now, in the iGo, airflow saying is a bit like, it can be hit and miss depending on where your air hole is. That does make a difference. Having it up higher gives me, I mean, Wormsy didn't really notice too much difference. I noticed quite considerable difference. I use the iGo a lot though, he doesn't. I noticed a quite big difference. Not so much on the first notch, that's like a standard drip tip, but on the second notch, you can make that draw quite a bit tighter than it was, and it's quite a loose pull on this device, so something to bear in mind. I think that's pretty cool. We're kind of done with the bullet drip tip, haven't we?
Yeah.
There's not really a lot more you can say, guys. I mean, if you're looking at it, it's definitely a good quality drip tip.
Is this one next?
Yeah, from
Going to show me one because just splits of it. This is the
bottle cap.
Bottle cap replacement drip tip style thing. It basically replaces this cover, but eradicates the need for a drip tip because it's smaller at the top. You can't actually put a drip tip in that. So it
if like Worm, you like to use it without the drip tip at all, it makes it more, I think, pleasant to have in your mouth because it's not so big. Which I think obviously is a good thing.
The only difference is with this, obviously you've got to take your surrounding cap off, your actual spiral, or
it's more of a replacement case than a drip tip.
And then you just basically screw that on, and that's it, guys. It really is. That's as simple as it goes.
It's a bottleneck, obviously. The name in the clues in the name. It's quite bottled and funneled up, kind of like the top of a wine bottle.
It does look just as good though.
But now you use your dripper without your drip tip. And it's kind of intended to do that. I know most people do use their Barons without their drip tipping anyway, but this I think feels much nicer.
I want to zoom in again, guys. If you look on the front of that, it has got a very nice Greek symbolising on that.
From Leo the Greek.
Greek vapes.
Greek vapes.
There you go.
Obviously,
so there's a little bit of branding on there, guys.
All the House of Mod stuff is made by Leo. We've discussed this in the Baron review that we did. And obviously, so is this. It's all very, very high quality. We pointed that out in the Baron video as well. House of Mods isn't something you're going to go on and pick up a £5 V3 from. It just is. That's not that kind of site. This is the kind of site that you go on if you want very, very, very well performing, higher grade.
Literally, they have 2 drippers, 1 tank.
Yeah. We pointed that out in the new Baron video. It's somewhere you go when you want to spend a bit more money on your vaping gear, whatever it may be. Tanks and drip tips, for example, on this one. And you're going to get a very, very, very good vape, but it's going to cost you a bit more, but you pay more to get quality. It's as simple as that.
That's it, yeah.
As far as the bottle tip goes, I actually quite like this. I really do. I like the I do like the standard Pro, but I always felt the need for a drip tip. I said that in the review for it, and it's going to be a similar setup with a spiral with this. Actually, I can quite happily vape this, and it's not. I don't feel that need. It feels right.
It eradicates the need for you drip tip. That's the whole point of it.
It didn't feel natural for me before vaping this without the thing with the tip in the top, whereas this now actually feels quite natural.
It basically does what it says. It replaces the need for a drip tip in your device. So there's not much more you can say on that. It's a lovely fit. It really is. It just feels like any other drip tip, to be honest.
We haven't pointed out the price of this, and I think it is relevant. It's $18.95 for this, which is a little bit on the steep side, I'm going to say, but again, you can't really look at this in terms of it's a drip tip, it's a body, and I think that's where, I mean, I know it's bottle cap for drippers is how it's described it. It's nice to describe it as a drip tip, so don't look at it as one. If you've got a spiral or a Pro,
I think what you've got to realise more than anything, you've got to have those, you've got to have it machined so your screw threading works. You've also got to have a little bit more metal in there, so it's going to be more expensive. It's not being held in by 2 rubber O-rings, you know. Bear that into mind. It is held by screw thread, and that thing ain't going to fall off. You can launch that around the room; it ain't going to fall off. It's screw threaded.
It's very nice though.
It is nice.
I think it comes down to a looks kind of preference. I mean, you may prefer the look of the standard Baron cone.
Either that one or that one on there.
They're very similar, aren't they? It's just one's bottleneck and one's got slightly. You may prefer the look of the standard Baron cone, but you don't want to have to use a drip tip in it, and you feel the need to. Like me, if I'd have bought the Baron, that's how I would feel, and that would stop that. So you could get sort of the best of both worlds, and it still looks great, which is just a wicked thing. I think I would consider buying one if I had like the Spiral or the Baron. How much I consider it, I don't know because I don't have one. So it's kind of, I would have to toy with it, to be honest, and see how much I didn't like having a drip tip in it. That I think will be what decided that for me. Because if you're looking at like the drip tips are about 10 anyway, so really it's only about £8 more than that, and you're getting the entire body for it. So make your mind up about that.
In the worst case, you got a replacement body.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I would definitely recommend it if that's what you want. Obviously, make sure it's what you want. If you're happy with it as it is, then
it's the same with all drip tips. It's a style thing. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah,
if it's not what you're going to like, don't buy it. But if you do like that, it's going to be exactly what you thought it was going to be. Bang on.
Exactly. This is the East. This is £10.95, so it's a little bit more expensive than the Bullet. Yeah, we'll zoom in. Basically, on the East, it's actually really nice. You've got the, ignore the juice on my hands, I've been dripping. You've got the, it's hard to make it out properly, but the slitting in there, kind of Pravari-ish style slitting, which I think is actually really cool. Like I said, it's not a Ming or a Knucklehead, but it's that kind of style. I do want to say, again, same as the Bullet with the double O-rings, adjustable airflow, and I do notice it in this iGo. I do prefer having it all the way down, give me a slightly tighter draw, because I find sometimes it's a little bit too loose, depending on where my airflow is. Sorry about that. Very high quality again, it's nicely built, but unlike most Ming or Knucklehead style drip tips that I've used, where I put it on my mouth and it kind of doesn't, it feels okay, but it always feels a little bit weird having that kind of skirt in my mouth, because I tend to put my lips where the groove is. This actually, the groove's quite nice and narrow. I've noticed the air pull on this when you have it all the way down is, it's not far off sort of the Smock Nova, which I think is about right for me, but your lips just kind of sit in there and it feels natural. I mean, I said this to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
And it does. It's not like your normal drip tip where it kind of feels a bit unnatural for me, but this actually feels quite good. So, anything to say?
Well, I haven't tried it, so I've only used it once. I can't really give an honest opinion on something I really haven't tried. So,
but again, stainless for this one, which is obviously wicked. I love my stainless. I think stainless is very crisp, very clean looking. But in general, we said this again in the Baron video, I don't think anything you buy from here is going to be, I'm a bit disappointed with that. It is this kind of site where you do spend a little bit more, but you do get pretty much satisfaction out of the box. It's not like buying clones of something or cheap something else. It is, you're buying the real deal, and you kind of, well, we've had a few things from them and never been dissatisfied at all. What are you saying on there?
Yeah, it is nice for if you like that kind of style. I personally
it is a style thing. It's definitely,
but yeah, it doesn't feel as uncomfortable as other Mings I've tried. So
I mean, the main Ming we used for a long time, I think both of us, was the iClear 30, which it had to be used with. And compared to that, this thing's beautiful to use. That did feel really kind of intrusive, and just it didn't ruin the vape experience. I mean, the actual device did that, but the feel of it just didn't feel quite what I wanted it to, whereas this does.
It's definitely nice, and it definitely has got a tighter draw. I mean, it does look like the hole is quite big, but it really does feel tighter than that, how big it seems. So
very, very good. Again, I'd recommend that. £10.95. It is more than some stainless steel Mings out there, but again, I think you can't compare this to your stainless steels with no name on them on Liberties or whatever.
It's still really good as well. It's weird when you first use it. It really is,
because you used to going in, as opposed to flaring out.
Definitely, like you used to a slight lip, even on the normal standard drip tips. I mean, even on that one there, you got like a slight lip on the outside, but this one is just all curved in, and it doesn't feel uncomfortable. It just feels weird at first, but
once you use it, though, I think they've done quite a good job of making sure that although it comes like that, as opposed to like that, it still feels around the same kind of size. It's just used your lips having somewhere to sit, as opposed to them kind of sitting on a surface. But I've used the Bullet and it's quite nice.
I have been using this for like a couple of days now. It feels banging. It really does. It's really nice. It's probably my go-to drip tip for quite a while now.
Indeed. So it's they're wicked drip tips. I know it's a drip tip video. It's a bit random, but we are random. We've stated this from the very beginning. I do want to say, I think we both want to say thank you to House of Mods, Sarah in particular, because we spoke to you. Hello, Sarah. Yeah, and just a big up.
With all the women.
I can't help it. I can't help it. It keeps going. Why are you flirting with all these? I'm not flirting.
It's cheating on you all.
I'm not. It's just not true. But no, I do want to say a massive thank you to the guys at House of Mods, and particularly Sarah, because we spoke to Sarah. She's like a lovely, lovely girl. I was going to say lady, but I don't know how old you are. I don't want to offend you either way, so girl.
He just digs himself. It's so great every time.
going to have to be called the JCB soon, so I'm giving myself some serious holes in these videos. Again, guys, we said this in the Baron video, customer service, as far as we're concerned, so far is second to none.
Oh no, their customer service is amazing.
What they did for Worm when he ordered this Baron was wicked. If you're not sure what that is, then please feel free to go over and have a look at the Baron Dripper. The Pro Dripper review, because they did something really, really cool, especially as a new customer, and we think that is absolutely amazing. Main things you're going to get on there, guys, as we said, is the Pro Dripper, the Baron Pro Dripper, the Baron Spiral, and the Killer Tank. We've both been very, very, very tempted to buy the Killer Tank. We still are. We don't know, but there's none in stock now, so you can't have none anyway yet, guys. Keep checking.
I just got to wait for 50 quid to be spare, and then another 40 quid for the tank.
Yeah, I mean, the Killer Tank isn't cheap, but it should be absolutely amazing. If that with a tank, you can't really get any better than that, to be honest. But no, big thank you to those guys. Go ahead and check out the site. If you're into dripping, then you definitely want to have a look at the Spiral and the Baron. They do perform very, very good, and they also have the replacement cups, which makes it very easy to have a very satisfying vape.
If you do have any questions, you can contact us on Twitter and Facebook, but they will be linked down there.
Indeed. If you're not into dripping, start. As simple as that. It's the best way to do it. I think we're ending here, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for watching. I have been Mr. Proton, and this has been The Worm.
Catch you soon, guys.